Valheim's enigmatic next update, Mistlands, is set to deliver a brand new biome for curious Vikings to explore and conquer. Ahead of its launch, developer Irongate Studios offered us a unique and unusual opportunity. They asked if we wanted to interview them about Mistlands within the Mistlands themselves. Obviously, we said yes. In this video, Irongate's Robin and Jonathan showcase to us some of the cool new features that Mistlands will bring to Valheim, answering our questions about the update's development and the thought process behind some of its exciting new mechanics. Enjoy.
Hey, and welcome. My name is Robin. I am the lead artist at Irongate, working on Valheim. I'm the first employee. I've been working on it for several years. I think it's like the third year now. We're still in early access. And this is Jonathan.
Yep, hi, I'm Jonathan, and I am a programmer, do a bit of everything at Irongate, and yeah, welcome to Valheim.
Awesome.
And Mistlands, I guess we should be heading into quite soon.
Exactly. So we have some things over here in this lovely house. You'll be getting the same kits that we have on us right now. So last year we released Hearth and Home, which was was it last year? Has it been 1 year?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah. Okay, so and that was basically a rebalance of what we wanted for Valheim before early access, but we didn't have time for. Which we added lots of content, but nothing for progression. So it was mostly rebalancing and doing new foods and stuff like that. With Mistlands is a new biome coming out, which is difficult. New armors, new weapons, everything that you would expect from a biome, basically.
That's exciting.
And what you've been... Okay, so we've got... who is who, by the way?
I'm the one called Kirian Kazamor, named after the guy from Yakuza, but I've made it kind of more Viking-y.
I am the tragically uncool Sharald, named after my cat.
You can learn so much about people by their Valheim nicknames.
Not even her real name. It's a nickname of her name that I call her. That's only funny to me. So
It's perfect though. That's how names are created. Yeah, so in this room you can see all the, well, not all, like a lot of the new stuff that we've created, like weapons and armor. I see you already help yourself to the armor sets over there.
Yes.
One of them is the more fighter armor, and the other one is the mage armor, which is a new, like a completely new combat for Mistlands, is that we've introduced mages or wizards or whatever you want to call it, magic anyway. And we also have these the traditional weapons on the side here. We also have a new weapon type, which I think somebody already took, the arbalest. And then we have the new versions of most weapons, and Robin designed all of them.
All right, so going into Mistlands was basically, we wanted to put in magic and stuff, more magical items and more magic overall when we were creating mountains, but we just didn't have time. It didn't feel just right to put it in mountains, so we waited a little bit, and we thought, like, going into Mistlands, this would be the perfect opportunity to try to flesh out magic and how it would work in a Valheim kind of sense. So most of the weapons you get in the Mistlands are magically imbued somehow, which I hope will be fun enough for the players. And with all weapons and the playstyle of Valheim, you need food, which we have here on this table here, which are some new food types that you will need to eat for stamina, and the new magic resource called Eitr, which is mana, I guess, basically.
How do we see our mana? Am I being really silly?
You need to eat some food that has Eitr as a stat.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, Yggdrasil porridge or secret aspic. So if you eat one of those, you'll get the Eitr bar. which you need to be able to use magic. And yeah, as Robin was saying, like all these weapons were designed with some, well, all of them have some kind of magic aspect. Not every single one, but they wanted to feel a bit more interesting, giving them names.
If you go back to Black Forest, like it's the second biome in the game, you get all these copper weapons and bronze armors and bronze weapons, and it's basically like bronze sword, bronze mace, bronze shield.
Yeah.
and that's all fine, but we actually love the idea of giving them epic names, and so how I created these weapons, or how to think about it, was basically just asking around the company for, hey, give me a cool name. and just like designed stuff out from names instead, trying to figure out the design after a name, basically, which felt much more fun to do as well. I put one spine snap here on the table just to display it pretty nicely. So that's one idea of like just going from a name first, spine snap for a bow and arrow, and just having Lisa go full ham on making the model after I did the concept, which was a fun process.
Over here is kind of the magic house. You can also see like there's a I don't want to say a ton, but like a lot of new build pieces which are used in Mistlands locations, but you can also use pretty much all of them, or most of them at least, to build your own things. So there's a number of new build items, and here are the forge, by forge, and the galder table where you craft magic items. So you can actually craft them here if you want, or you can just pick them off the wall. So we have for Mistlands at release, we're going to have 4 different magic items, which you could test out if you want. We have the ice staff, which is basically an ice minigun. We have the grenade launcher, basically fire staff, and we have a support item, which is quite nice to be able to add for players to want to play a little bit more supporty.
Oh, cool.
Which is an AoE shield, which is a damage
nice
observation. And then, as you saw earlier, we also have summon, so you can summon a skeleton pet, or even more than one if you upgrade your stuff. So, yeah, and the skeletons, they sometimes they're ranged and sometimes they're melee, so it's a bit randomness in them as well. And we'll be adding more magic in future updates as well. So this is
and also one of the things, like when we've always been talking about adding magic to the game in some sense. But it's been a real difficult time trying to figure out how Valheim would shape the magic. So one thing we had to consider was like we had to make weapons, and we need the resources from the food, and you have to drain the durability from the weapon as well, because all the weapons, they have this durability basically. So when you're using your magic weapon, you'll be draining durability from that as well. And one thing we normally try to think about, we try to think as simple as possible and try to keep it all in the same line as everything else, so it doesn't become too overly complicated. I know once upon a time we were like talking about maybe taking like trophies from enemies. Since you can get trophies from enemies, one idea was like to have magic be different depending on which trophy you had sacrificing at a sacrifice pool, but it felt so complicated and so distant from Valheim design, so we went for the most simplest way. That was just basically making staffs, having a resource from food, just like everything else, and hopefully this will bring new playstyles. It's basically ranged with with particle effects, so it's
make it sound so bad. Yeah, but I mean, it is quite different to play with because you don't need to worry about stamina for attacks in the same way, but you have lower armor as well as, of course, just as mages in other games. Like I think one big difference is that you can't be a mage from the get-go. Like in a lot of RPGs, you just choose whatever class you want to play, and then you play that. In this, like in Valheim, you can play a little bit of each, and you can swap between them. But to play mage, you still have to progress quite a far bit through the game to be able to start being a mage. So everybody has to be a true, like a normal Viking first, like fight your way up, even if you want to later use magic primarily.
I'm really into that. It seems like you guys are having a lot more fun with the weapons and the magic as well. Like there's I don't know, with all the effects and the elemental stuff as well. I'm really into it. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we think it feels nice. So it's going to be very interesting to see like what players actually think about it, and yeah, there's a lot of things we're very excited to see what people actually think about it. Like, I mean, obviously it's taking quite a while for this update to release. Like Robin said, we had Hearth and Home, and also in between that we also had a Mountain Cave update, which was adding a new area in the mountains, and that took a bit of time to make. So I mean, we do have quite a bit of players who'll be like, yeah, okay, so why did it take so long for you guys to release like one biome and everything? But we've only been working on it since February, I think it is, right? Or
Yeah, full production.
technically. So yeah, we're very excited to see what players think about it, and also like we've been tuning it a lot. Like it's gonna be a difficult biome, and that's intentional. But hopefully it's not too hard. But at the same time, we'd be very unhappy if it wasn't hard enough. Because Valheim is supposed to be a hard game somehow.
I'm hoping to see lots of players die. That's what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping it's going to be so difficult that we want to provoke some kind of feeling. So hate it or love it or use puke berries. I don't know. Hopefully we will evoke some kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But if you come down here, I have something for the people. We don't only have combat. So one of the things we hope people will like is like when you're at home, you have your hens. We have we have boars, we have wolves. You can tame and ride the loxes so far, and now you have chickens and hens as well, which I think will be a nice addition for the people. Or all the Vikings.
Very into that. Oh, nice. And they lay eggs, so you can use them for cooking, presumably.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
You have to figure out how to get a hold of your first egg, and after that, hopefully not lose it, or be able to get some hens from it so that you can start making eggs.
And also, one of the resources that people really find tedious trying to get is the feathers from birds that fly around, and now this is a more reliable source of income for feathers.
Yeah, and let's see, down here we have also, there's been kind of an upgrade to the fishing system, fishing is not a huge part of Valheim, but it's like a side activity, and it's been made a bit more interesting with quite a few more fish types added, like unique fish types per biome. There's different baits, and there's also you can also pick up the fish. Like there's different rarities of fish, and if you catch them, you can, like previously they would just turn into fish meat as soon as you pick them up. So it's basically just a source of food, and they still are. But rarer fish will give more meat, and also you can also just keep them as fish and put them on your wall as a kind of a bragging rights thing. If you find a 3-star fish somewhere and manage to catch it, then you can like put it on your trophy stands in your house. So hopefully somebody will appreciate that. And there's been some like logical AI, like minor AI updates to them as well, so they don't fly through the sky as they sometimes would. Yeah, so what do we have next? Traps. We also added like normal build pieces, but also we have added some more defensive build pieces, which is basically we've added 2 types of traps.
Oh, here's one up here. So you can arm it, and basically the philosophy behind defensive structures and defense is that anyone can get hurt from. I'm probably going to die from this. So, oh yes.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Wow.
You were one shot. Okay, yeah. I thought you would survive, but maybe you didn't have.
No, I didn't have much food, so I was like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself to Odin. But yeah, so defensive structures hurt both players and enemies, so you have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, so this is the other one. It's a ranged turret, is what we call it, but it's a ballista. Yeah, and it's hopefully these will help. Like being able to place active traps like this will help you defend your bases for trolls and other things that will appear in Mistlands, which Mistlands will be a very hard, difficult place to build bases and exist at all. So hopefully these will help a little bit anyway.
Let's see if it actually turns towards me, or is it just gonna?
Probably gonna go for the dummy. No, it doesn't.
No,
Okay.
it
Oh.
doesn't.
Oh, does it sort of like auto lock on? I see. Okay. That's
So if
cool.
you go in front of this one, it's gonna try to target the closest one, I guess. Yeah, gotta be careful with these things.
So yeah, should we start going into the actual Mistlands then? I think or actually, let's just quickly show you maybe a few of the build pieces. Let's see if I can build something. No, I need the black forge as well and copper. Okay, never mind. Maybe, or Martin, you're here. Maybe just build a few of the new things. Like a large part of our community is builders, which are playing the game quite a bit. So we've added a number of different build pieces, which are more or less. We've seen people build, like for example, spiral staircases by hand, which is a lot of work if you do them with previous pieces. And there's also black marble, which is a new resource in Mistlands, which you will be able to farm quite a bit of and make new types of structures. So are you
That's
guys
very
builders
nice.
or explorers, or what are you guys for types of players, would you say?
I would say I'm more of an explorer. I'm too lazy to build to build stuff. But I mean, now that you've made the spiral staircase much easier to build, maybe.
Yeah.
This-
So Robin, do you want to tell us about the mist, maybe?
All right, so Mistlands and the Mist. Mistlands for us was basically the last chance for us to go in and try to do something different and unexpected, I guess, because the last two biomes of the game before we go into 1.0 is Ashlands is left and Deep North.
Okay.
And just from the names, you could already guess like Ashlands is going to be lots of lava, ash, and a hot place. So you'll have like this polarized theme place. And the same thing with Deep North. It's going to be lots of cold spots, basically, and snow. But Mistlands is like, what can we do to change the expectations or just switch it all around? What is actually hiding in the mist? So the first thing we had to do is like basically make the mist and have some mechanic tied to it. And so we created this little thing here. It's a wisp light or a bound wisp. And what it does,
cool.
it actually disperses the mist or pushes the mist away. So when I go closer, it just pushes it away. So this is your way of trying to traverse Mistlands and just get through it. You can go in without a wisp light, but it'll be more difficult with vision.
One of the weapons, the Mistwalker, also disperses the mist a little bit, right?
Yes, the sword that Jonathan is donning right now is the Mistwalker, and it actually disperses the mist a little bit as well.
If you're gonna make a build in Mistlands or just want to make a path, you can also place a new torch item, which will disperse the mist as well, more like a static.
Yeah.
Will you have to like work? You won't be sort of given this straight away the moment you like arrive at the Mistlands.
Oh yes, we don't give you anything basically. So
Okay.
basically, when
Nice.
you kill the Yaglith, the previous last boss, you will get an item which will allow you to begin crafting the wisp light. In traditional Valheim way, you will be giving something, and then you need to figure out how it works by trying things out. And there's also a few hints given by Hugin, and also a new. If you recognize the blackbird, which Hugin, there's also a new white brother.
But have you all got your mist lights, your wisp lights? I mean.
Yes.
As you may have seen, like in the sky, there's this huge Yggdrasil root, and in Mistlands you can also find shoots of them sticking up from the ground, which you can. Actually, these things that are placed on these the extractors here is also another resource that you'll be able to mine by placing them on routes.
So Yggdrasil is the world tree that connects all the realms of the Norse mythology. And Valheim, according to our mythology, it was one of those realms once until Odin cut loose the branch. And so what you see now is basically the magical roots and branches of what's left of the branch that we're still clung to. Hence why it's so magical to come into Mistlands. Why do you get all these magical properties? Well, a big thing is because of these roots that come from Yggdrasil. So if we run up here, we will be entering Mistlands, and I can't say that I can't protect you any longer than this, so every man is for himself from now on. Just saying.
Yeah, we have quite a few accidents bringing people into Mistlands, and it's definitely not the last one. So
But now
That's
we're coming
terrifying.
into Mistlands where there's lots of black rock, green grass, a very Icelandic kind of place. We want it to be like some kind of beauty hiding inside the Mistlands, but also it's a very deadly and ancient place. And I can actually hear. Oh, there's a tick running over.
Oh,
the
there's a
branch
tick.
there.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, there's a tick.
Oh,
on
it's
us.
like stuck to me. Oh,
Yeah,
that's horrible.
They
That
cling
was.
to you and they suck your blood. So I don't know. Do you guys have the?
Oh, we got
okay,
competition.
Whoa!
yeah, we have a yell as well.
Oh,
on top,
God.
on top. Yep.
Also, no.
Oh, what is that?
Watch
That's-
out! They do AOE bile bombs. They're horrible. Watch
It's
out!
Ow.
actually now called the Tick Mothership.
And one thing that we have introduced as well during this hectic combat scene right now, we have introduced weak spots.
Oh, no.
So shoot underneath it.
Ah,
I just immediately die. Like,
Gerald, no!
No, Cheryl. Yeah, so you just have the actual Mistlands experience. It's I think we could pretty much guarantee that 100% of everybody starting Mistlands is going to go in and actually die within a few minutes at least.
Yeah. Another thing, I'm not sure if you noticed, but you have a feather cape on you, which is that has slow fall or feather fall, that we call it. So once you get that in Mistlands, it'll be easier for you to get around, as you don't take fall damage and you can just glide around. I can hear seekers somewhere around here, somewhere.
Oh, there's one here. A soldier behind the entrance to the dungeon.
Yeah, it's coming out.
oh God.
oh, wow.
Whoa.
God, they are strong as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Gerald, get out of there! Get out of there, Gerald!
Yeah, so remembering that the gear we're actually donning now is what we get as a reward for defeating Mistlands, sort of. So going in here with the lower tier gear will be even more interesting.
Yes.
So yeah, if we enter this, this is one location. This is actually a dungeon entrance to the Mistlands dungeon, which we have.
Oh yeah, it's all like rooty and gooey.
Yeah, what do we say? The inspirations are Mines of Moria and also Alien movie,
Hmm.
Yeah.
basically.
So what we're entering now is the old mines of the Dvergr, old dwarves that used to live here, and they've been pushed out by these insectoid creatures, which they've laid their eggs. They're taking over the whole place. So you'll be trying to run around here, gather whatever resource and valuables you can get from these dungeons to be able to craft your new gear that we are using right now.
Are there any lessons you've learned from sort of the previous dungeons that you've kind of put into this one, or have you tried sort of different things with these dungeons?
Yes, so one of the things is just trying to get the dungeons a bit bigger, not too claustrophobic,
Right.
depending on what kind of dungeon we want to create, but just a lot about the layout and what do we want to put into them. What kind of resources are we hiding in there, and how can we make it obvious
Yeah, but also like Robin's saying, like some of the older dungeons would be like you go in there once to get what you need, and then when you have that, you don't really need to go in there again. Which is still kind of the case, but in some dungeons you will want to go in again to get more resources that you require, or yeah, you're looking for items to unlock the boss, for example, in Mistlands.
And like we've put in secret doors and secret passages and stuff like that, just so there's a little bit more replayability, or just try to keep an eye out.
Nice, really
and
into
also
that.
just like design-wise, keep making them a little bit more interesting and fun to explore. It's the same in if you, for example, would run through the Mountain Cave update. Those were much more interesting and how should you say, visually more interesting to explore, being multiple levels and bigger rooms and smaller rooms and shafts rather than the flatter dungeons, which like the first crypts are kind of a little bit, flatter designs.
Oh, we have secret up here.
Oh my god. just like more than half my health.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure we're gonna show much more of the dungeon right now, but this is basically what you can expect in dungeon-wise. Like, go into these old mines and old habitats of the Dvergr, and try to get some new resources. Try to start making these armors and weapons that we have now. But also we have topside locations where you actually get to meet the Dvergr as well, and they're our first real neutral NPCs that you can accidentally piss off, and they will become angry, and they will definitely kill you, sometimes even more harder than Seekers and the Tick airship.
Yeah, somewhere here there should be the Dvergrs, I think, yeah.
Alright, there,
Yep.
I see one. No, yeah, there's one.
What was that?
Oh.
Oh, he's like a little wizard man.
Yep. So we have an NPC in the world, which is a trader. He sells you stuff and such, and he's a Dvergr. But now you get to see the rest of his people, and they're mages, wizards, and rogues around here trying to survive. And these locations hold something valuable. So it's not in the Dvergr per se, so you don't have to actually kill them, but to be able to get to the treasure that you need to progress, you're going to have to destroy some boxes, and they will get pissed off, try to kill you. So dealing with the situation is going to be up to each Viking.
Right, so is there a way to get the treasure without annoying them, or are you always going to have to to murder them?
I've actually lured some Seekers and Ticks to these locations, have them fight against each other, and then I go for the box.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think you could also like lure the Dvergrs out if you're several players, and maybe be able to steal them without them being angry. So I'm sure there will be tactics which we haven't even thought about. The players
exactly. My favorite one so far is getting the harpoon, going in on rainy evenings when lightning and stuff like that, and pretending that I'm Batman and just hooking them out of the location, going and like just whispering, "I'm Batman," just hooking them out, dragging them out into the darkness. It was cool.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so let's piss them off.
Oh.
All right.
I broke the chair. Let's see. Maybe
that's
it's
one way
because
to piss them off.
We kind of
Break their
rebuilt
chair.
this location.
Okay, I hit that.
Oh, okay, yeah, they don't seem too happy. God, I'm gonna get on this.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Are we focus firing on anyone, or is just every man for himself?
I'm gonna try and get this mage. I feel like the mage is a...
Go.
Oh yeah, there's loads there. The rogues are scary, aren't they?
Yeah, they're...
Is that rogue gone?
Oh, this was so much better doing it multiplayer than a single player, because I always get my ass handed to me when I do this alone.
Yeah, this was one of the more
That
we
was
didn't
nice.
die. Like that's
That was good. I'm proud.
a good day.
I contributed nothing. I feel I should probably say that, to be honest.
And yeah, so this is going to be Mistlands in a nutshell. Lots of new stuff to build, lots of new enemies to fight against in a very difficult terrain, with vision being very poor. At some places, I'm sure we have some place over here where there's not gonna be mist everywhere. There are some places where
Yeah, let's walk around. Let's find a higher location to look out a little bit.
oh yeah, so the mist only goes to a certain height as well. So one of the things that we wanted to give to players is that if you climb up higher, you will be able to see points of interest to places where you can go from there, and then you just dive down into the mist and try to get to that spot.
Yeah, so probably a lot of the builders will be building at higher heights just to
Oh, I see.
just a little bit safer.
Oh wow, it is very pretty, even from this height.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how people experiment and do with these things.
Trying to imagine doing this without this this cape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with that then.
Yeah.
Also, the
It's-
amount of times you die just because you get used to having the feather cape on, and then once you don't have it on, you just jump out of a cliff and you're like, oh my god, what did I just do?
So far away.
Destiny to prepare.
Oh, I got him.
Landing my shots.
He's gonna burn.
I'm trying to knock him back with the arbalest. Oh, nice, we got it.
Hey, beautiful.
There you go.
Too easy this game. We need
Too
to.
easy.
I think we need to bump up the difficulty slightly.
Were you a bit worried that it was going to be too difficult, or did you just know that your community would be able to tackle the hardest challenges you could like throw at them?
I think it's better to overcompensate and go for one of the desired directions. So it's better to go for super difficult first and let them play around with that, or go for super easy and then tune it up or back. I think that's how we most of the times that's how we do it at the Irongate, because it's so much more easier to see the contrast in that case. So in this case, I think we bumped it up pretty difficult. Like, we're going in with pretty good armor right now and good food. We're not even using the potions right now, so it should have been even more easier for us. But I think most of the people who have come to this is the 6th biome. So if you got this far, Cheryl,
Oh,
Cheryl,
no.
I'm coming.
Oh, I was trying to get a nice shot.
If you've come to the biome number 6, you should be pretty tuned to how getting into a new biome is, and seeing that Mistlands is basically a mix between swamps. So swamps had a baby with mountains, and you can't see anything.
And also, swamps and mountains are our most hated biomes, so that's probably a great idea. But yeah, it will be interesting to see the difficulty level, because I mean, we had tuned it to something that we think, okay, this is hard and this is good. And then we had a tester group try it out, and pretty much a lot of them were quite unhappy about, like, oh, it's way too hard. And then we've had to tune it down a bit since then. So it's still going to be very interesting and a bit scary to see, like, what do the players think about this? Is it still too hard, or even worse? Like, if somebody actually plays in, like, this isn't hard enough, that would be much worse for us. We'd rather, like Robin say, have it a bit too hard and then tune it down if we need to. Players who played Valheim a year and a half ago or more, like, they were used to the game being hard. And then the next biome came, and you're used to being, like, overrun by monsters, and like, it should be hard. And then you gain the next level tier gear, and then it's all of a sudden not as hard anymore, and you feel powerful. But the problem is, like, whoever has kept playing the game for 2 years or a year and a half since then, they have maybe gotten a bit comfortable with their planes gear and think that, Valheim isn't so hard anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's both a good wake-up call, but it's also like, hopefully they won't be too disappointed by them not being as strong anymore.
Yeah, and death is always the best wake-up call, right? No?
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned, like, how people are going to receive it. I was just going to ask sort of what it is that you wanted from this expansion. Like, what is it that you'd like to see? Whether it's obviously people enjoying it, but yeah, I'm just intrigued.
I'm hoping that this is a next step in Okay, so I'm not a builder per se. I like action and combat.
Yeah.
And so I'm interesting to. It's going to be interesting for me to see how people handle the situations of having like this big. In Black Forest, we had the big troll, which was walking on the ground.
Yeah.
But now the troll is flying and he's throwing fireballs at you. So it's going to be interesting to see how much they hate it, but also how they cope with it. What they have, like all the items and all the things from previous biomes. They have defensive structures. They have magic and everything now. How will they solve these problems? Will they like build huge castles on top of cliffs with just a huge amount of turrets, or what's the go-to plan here? And how do they survive in Mistlands until the next biome comes around?
And where does Mistlands fit in? Is this is sort of immediately after you kind of finish the base game, I suppose? Do you kind of do you have to take a portal over to Mistlands? Is it like, I don't know, you take a boat over or whatever?
Also, if you press M, you get the map, and in Valheim you start off in the center of the world. The further out to the edge of the world you get, the more dangerous it is, and the higher the probability that you will actually bump into a Mistlands.
Right, I see.
So
you could technically you could find it before you find other biomes, but it's much less likely. So
yeah.
In the normal progression, you would want to enter after you have like kind of progressed through plains and killed the boss that is in the plains.
Do you have whether it's sort of development side or just your own personal thing, do you have like a favorite little detail that maybe your average player might not pick up on, or you just particularly like about the Mistlands expansion?
Oh, okay, that's difficult. I mean, first I'd have to say magic, because I was really looking forward to adding magic. But also, I guess the traps have turned out to be quite fun. So
Yeah.
I just really look forward to as a player, I would say magic, but as a developer, I would say looking forward to seeing what all the players will build and how they will manage to defend their Mistlands like castles or builds. Because like we made some nice builds, we were like, okay, we need to test this out. So we built this like kind of big complex building and everything, and we were quite happy about it. I mean, we spent a good deal of time, and then all of a sudden this like 1-star Yal, like the Tick Air mothership, came by and just completely wrecked our entire build. And we were like, as developers, we were like so bummed by this. We're like, no. So I mean, it's also a bit worrying, because that will probably happen to a lot of players. But if you know about that and you kind of plan accordingly and place ballistas and stuff, then maybe you can mitigate that a bit. So yeah, that was kind of an obscure answer to your question, I guess.
No, it's just it's super interesting.
And hopefully, I mean, one lesson that we have learned about working on Mistlands, which is good to take away at least, is that like we spent quite a bit of time on it, but we also spent time on other things before that, when I think most players just wanted the next progression line of Mistlands. So one thing that we have learned is that we will most likely be releasing the next biomes, like the final 2 biomes, which we have promised, quicker than we did Mistlands. And I mean, I might have to eat my hat at the end of this if that doesn't happen, like if we end up spending even more time, but that is definitely our ambition, so I hope that we can live up to that.
That's awesome. I suppose it must have been difficult when Valheim kind of, when it exploded in popularity, and sort of suddenly having all this pressure to deliver like new stuff all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it took quite a while just for everybody to land in what was happening and everything, and people expect like, oh, there's so much money, so just hire 100 people and finish the game. But it's not really like adding more people isn't really the solution. It wouldn't really help. It would just add more overhead, and like probably things would take more time, or the same amount of time maybe in the end anyway.
Also, I think one important thing to flag about Mistlands is that you can rename your skeletons.
Yeah, probably the best feature. Actually,
That is by far by far the best one.
Thanks so much for watching. Are you excited to explore the Mistlands for yourself? Let us know in the comments below. For all your PC gaming needs, make sure to check out rockpapershotgun.com, and I'll see you again very soon.